careers and their futures. So today is all about the Vancouver Film School, of which I especially am a huge big fan, and that's why I think I'm going to have a great chat today. But before we go further, I'd ask Dorothy to do a quick introduction of herself, couple of minutes, and then followed by Dinesh, and then we'll get into a nice discussion. And thanks everybody for joining us. Dorothy, all yours.
My name is Dorothy, and I've been with Vancouver Film School for close to 19 years now, working in South Asia market as well as the Middle Eastern regions. If I have my colleague Dinesh, who will talk about himself shortly. We do all the admissions for our students who have no portfolio, who have a portfolio, understand what it is that is required to go to Vancouver Film School for our very advanced programs. Most of other than the beginners 2 programs that are acting essentials and foundation, all other programs are advanced programs. I look forward to explaining more further as we go ahead. Over to Dinesh, who will now give a little intro about himself.
Yeah, thank you, Dorothy. Hi, this is Dinesh Silvani, and I work with the Vancouver Film School as a as a business development executive or specialist. I've been working with VFS for the past 3.5 years now. And as Dorothy said, we assist students in admissions and business development. So we assist students to help them to make a career in the creative art or entertainment art industry.
Fantastic. Thanks for that lovely introduction from both of you. And before we go further, Dorothy, I'm absolutely blown away by the fact that you spent almost 2 decades with this wonderful school. What got you started with them, and what made you stick around for so long?
What we started is assisting all these creative artistic students, looking at their portfolios, making sure we get the right student to VFS. I enjoy my job thoroughly. It's a great job to see the artistic talent in the country. Many of them may not be able to go to VFS. It just gets me that they're so good. Some of them need assistance to be able to achieve some kind of standards to be able to go to VFS. And I think that's really what gets me, getting students to the right path to go to VFS. If not, what they should do to be able to be successful.
Lovely. Can you guys tell us, VFS is obviously a very large institution and very repeated. What are all the kind of specializations that one can come out with at the end of a course?
My course in different programs. They are all entertainment art related. So it could be animation. In the animation, we have animation and visual effects. We have animation concept art. And we have...
Dorothy, you're breaking up quite a bit, Dorothy. We can't really hear you.
We
Dinesh, could you repeat what Dorothy just said?
Yeah, so she started saying we have different animation programs like 3D animation and visual effects. We have classical animation, which is 2D animation. We have animation concept art. Then we have game design. We have film production, of course. We have digital design, which includes UI, UX. We have VR, AR. So we have 14 different programs related to the entertainment arts, and all our programs are 1 year advanced diploma, post-secondary diploma. Yeah.
All right. So in terms of the Indian context or the South Asian context, what would this diploma be equivalent to? Is it just a diploma, or would it be the equivalent of a PG diploma in India or something like that?
It's not a PG diploma because it's students are allowed post-secondary to join the course. The majority of the students out of India and out of South Asia would go after grade 12. Now, this is an opportunity after undergrad. This to go either straight out of grade 12 or the undergrad program, because we need a portfolio. A lot of grade 12 students would go to the foundation program, which would give them the basic knowledge to be able to get into the advanced programs. That's what we advise the students from grade 12. Now, out of some other regions, they could be filmmaking along with their grade 10, 11, 12. In many schools, they teach them entertainment or creative arts. In India, they don't really teach. I don't think most places in South Asia teach. So they do have to either have taken some classes when they are in grade 11 and 12, or they will have to go to the foundation program. If they're already having a portfolio, they don't need to go to the foundation program. They can go directly into the advanced.
Fantastic. And so that, because, with the amount of, I think just because we talked about films and, creativity and animation and all those fantastic creative things that are happening. In fact, when I was growing up, I'm 54 years old, so we didn't really have these options of joining a film school or, or getting into the creative line. I remember, because, by the way, I was a film school aspirant myself when I was 21. And those days we had, I think, only two options, which was FTII Pune and Jamia Millia Islamia in Delhi, and probably the HCU, Hyderabad Central University, as well. So, but it's come a long way from that. Today we're talking about India being at the Oscars and winning Oscars, and we're getting for the best documentary and for songs and dance and what have you. So with all this, my feeling is that the average learning pattern of the younger Indian who is hooked on to entertainment has changed quite dramatically, is what I personally feel. So maybe there is a 17, 18-year-old young person already ready to get into the advanced program. So what kind of a portfolio would you look at it in situations like this?
Different programs, we look for different things. For example, if they're taking a production program, they would have to have a written out film story, which is a one-page explaining how they would make the film, connected to some film they've already watched, so that we have that thing that they already know something about what are the genre of the film, what are the characters for the film, etc. If you're taking a 3D animation and visual effects program, the student will have to provide us with a digital portfolio, which includes preferably animation software, some modeling reel or some animation, visual effects, and they would have to give us some sketches, human anatomy sketches. For a writing program, we like to look at writing skills. So different programs have different requirements. And we guide the students. They take the foundation, or we guide them and they take some class here, get that required portfolio, then go to VFS.
Oh, okay, fantastic. And by and large, which is the most top three popular, because you seem to have a very large portfolio of programs in UFS for international students, and not necessarily only from India, but from anywhere else, which are by far the top 3 or 4 categories that international students choose?
The film production program is very popular because it's #1 in Canada. And the second program, which is very, very popular, is 3D animation. World. So a lot of students go to that program. Game design is popular. We started seeing students go in for the writing program. So there are a lot of programs that the students go to, but these are the top 4 programs that students go to.
That's lovely. And it's so heartening to know that film production is right on top of it. And so I'd like to spend a little time on the film production side of it, because I do believe a lot of our people who will watch this session today and also later when we put it up onto our social media platforms. So just on film production, and I might want to throw this a little bit at Dinesh, how's that program structured? How long is it? And kind of, just the very basic top level idea of how this program works.
So the film production is a 1-year program. So there are 6 terms in a year, 2 months per term is how it's segregated. And students can specialize in any 2 areas out of the 5 specializations. So there's direction, cinematography, production, post-production, and production design. So they can actually choose 2 specializations out of the 5 in the last 6 months.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So they get a great opportunity to, learn the entire movie making process, and as I said, specialize in 2 areas.
So this is a 1-year program, basically, if somebody's and they have the ability to come out and specialize in any 1 or 4 areas, is what you're saying.
Any 2 out of the 5 areas.
Any 2 out of the 5 areas. So one can opt to be specializing in direction as well as cinematography. Yes. Okay, yeah, fantastic. So just a quick question on cinematography. What kind of equipment is being used? Is it all digital now, or is there still some film being used? Because the times have changed, and it's now all the black magics and the Aries and all those kinds of things. So what's the kind of equipment that's used?
So Dorothy will be
digital. Yeah, completely digital. We do have the old camera archive which students can access, use, check out. But filmmaking is completely digital. They do it with Panasonic, Arri, various cameras that we have. We have different lenses for them to use. Our studios, and we have different studios within the school that we also rent out to top production to come and use. We have the so they get that kind of experience of sometimes watching the other top productions being done in our school itself. So they use top equipment which is changed every few years to be able to, for the students kind of graduate from a school, because they graduate with a film. As I tell every student, a certificate only gets you a foot in the door.
Correct.
And a VFS certificate gets you but it doesn't get you the job. What gets you the job is the quality of show reel that you produce when you're being interviewed. That's what gets you the job. So we tell them, with the top school with the highest number of hits on YouTube for schools, that's because the quality of show reels that we put of our students onto these social media is really top class. Students are blown away by the quality of the work that is being produced. And we expect students to work that hard. Yeah, we can only teach really to a certain level. As we tell students, we can take you to the well, we can make you drink the water, but we can't force it down your throat and make you drink it. So you have to be able to perform. You have to work that hard. You have to be able to stay in school long hours to be able to achieve the standard that we're expecting students to achieve in the 1 year. And it's really intensive because students of a film program they're broken up. It's a 40-seater class, which is broken up into 5 or 6 students. And each group makes around, the class makes over 80 productions in the year.
Wow.
To achieve that work means 12 to 14 hours every day in school.
Wow. That
3D animation is also extremely intensive because they have to make a film at the end of every term, that is every 2 months. And then they graduate with a film that they've made with their specialized. For the writing program, the students will have a film made with one of their written out scripts. They may not direct because there'll be somebody else who does it, but they're the writer and they have to have the option of being on the production to be able to make sure that the production values and the production story and for everything is what they had foreseen it to be. So they get that opportunity and they graduate with that show reel. Game design students graduate with a game that they've made at a group of students. So it's really production level, high production level of work that goes on.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Hey, could you give me a little bit of history about VFS? When did it start and who started it, and why it's become as famous as it is today.
Vancouver Film School was started 35 years ago almost.
Wow. Oh, Dorothy, you're breaking up a lot. Dinesh, wherever she's breaking up, can you come in, please?
Yeah. Hello, Dorothy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dorothy, you're breaking up very, very badly. I mean, we can't hear most of what you're saying, unfortunately. Yeah, I think your net connection is. Yeah. Yes, Dinesh, you continue. Yeah.
Yeah, so Vancouver Film School started in 1987 with just a class of 12 film production students.
Okay.
It just started in a small batch of 12 students, and now we have over 1,000 students studying in 14 different programs
Wow.
throughout the world. So we get admissions from Asia. It could be not Australia, UK, US, Canada, of course, and it's throughout the world. And the main concept of starting Vancouver Film School was to give industry related relevant programs, and which would be, of course, very intensive, and that's why the duration is just 1 year, because ideally what a student studies in 1 year at VFS is equivalent to a 3 year or 2 year program.
Absolutely.
Because as you see, most of the universities or schools who have a 2 or 3 year program focus on the first year. The focus is only on theory, not too much on practical application of the knowledge.
Correct.
EFS, on purpose, we keep small batches and we keep it relevant so that it's up to the industry standards. That's how we like to keep it.
Fantastic. You brought up a very good point, Dinesh. I'm so agree with you. A lot of these, universities or whatever, they go on to make you do like a whole year of theory before you can even come anywhere close to a camera. So how quickly do your students get hands-on, whether it is animation or writing or or film production? How quickly are they hitting the road, and where the rubber hits the road?
The first day of class itself.
Day one.
Yeah.
Wow. Excellent. That's what I wanted to hear. Fantastic. So it's like really full-on production experience from day one is what you guys are putting them through. That's fantastic. And is Vancouver Film School supported by the government of Canada in any way, or is it just a private institution that thrives on its own reputation? Dorothy, we can't hear you, Dorothy.
Dorothy, you're breaking up, so I'll just continue. So Vancouver Film School is a private school in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. So it's the reason of being it completely private is most of the public schools, whatever equipments they use and everything, mostly it gets redundant by the time the new, and as technology like increases and changes like literally every moment. So to keep up with, so the private schools have this opportunity to keep up with the the upcoming standards or technologies from time to time, whereas the government institute, it really takes time. By the time you're using one camera, probably the other camera has already been in use like years ago. So it's the redundancy and the obsolete machinery is what it doesn't happen. So that's the reason it's a private.
I think that's a very, very fair comment. I completely agree with you because being a private organization, they'll be quicker to react to changing situations, as against bureaucratic processes that will, involve. So, why is it? I mean, considering that India now also has been producing a lot of animation schools and film schools and various other schools. What are the advantages for a student to go to Vancouver Film School as compared to pursuing something domestically? Dinesh?
Yeah. So, of course, the exposure, firstly, I would say the kind of exposure they get at VFS, where they get the kind of hands-on training as we discussed, the secondly would be the connections, the kind of connections they make while studying and even after studying, because most of our faculty who teach at VFS are directly coming from the studios. They
Wow.
most of our faculty are part-time faculty who directly come from the studios to teach our students. Students
Wow.
are working on live projects, and also they are pretty much working as if we are preparing them for the real world outside. So
Fantastic.
they are working on
Mm.
live projects and all that. So secondly, as I said, connections. Thirdly would be, of course, the best quality education. You can't compromise on quality education, because if the quality of your education or what you're learning is low, of course that will reflect in the show reel when you graduate with that. So if you go to a school which doesn't specialize specifically in entertainment arts, it will of course affect the show reels and eventually the job, because your job will be on the basis of show reels, as Dorothy said initially, when you graduate with one. So these are the
Absolutely.
top three I feel, which are different as compared to other schools or any other entertainment art school. Creative school.
Excellent. And you touched upon a very nice topic while we were talking, and which is about the faculty. So, are there any noteworthy names in the pantheon of your lecturers, who come from the industry and share their experience directly with the students? Just a few little top level view on your faculty as well, please.
Dorothy would be able to, throw light on that, because the faculties keeps on like changing
Yeah,
in the
there is
different
incredible
departments.
faculty, yeah, that keep changing constantly. I recommend if any student want to really have a look, they should go to our website. Under
Yeah.
each program, there's a list of faculties that they can look at. They can look at the detailed curriculum. So there are different people working in current productions also. They work on several productions. So good idea, depending on which program the student is doing, go to the website, vfs.edu. Under
Yeah.
faculty, under each program, there's a list of faculty. Check that out, check the bios.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to get that information, which is the latest information they would get from the website itself.
That's fantastic. I think that's great advice to go to the website because, obviously, because you guys are such a practical, hands-on school, faculty is changing constantly and the students can go and see who is the latest there. Hey, just being curious, any Oscar winners from VFS so far in any field?
Hasn't been put over the years, several
Over the years, I mean
but,
over the years.
Very many of them have worked on various films, like even for this year, there's Avatar, there's so many other films that the students have worked on for visual effects. There's people who worked on sound.
Dinesh, you might have to jump in, Dinesh.
Yeah. So over the years, as Dorothy said, there have been a lot of Oscar nomination and winners. If I can think of last 2 years before, like when the COVID time, that itself in 2021, we had 106 alumni who worked on movies nominated for the 2021 Academy, and we had
Wow.
56 alumni worked on nominated for the Golden Globe Awards.
Oh, fantastic. So obviously this is a huge legacy that students can partake in, and okay, I guess one of the most primary questions is always around fees and scholarships. So some information around those as well. What are your average fees like? How do they compare with, let's say, any other school of a similar level? And any scholarships available, because these are some of the standard questions that students ask us. Yeah.
So our fees ranges from 29,000 Canadian dollars all the way to 54,000 Canadian dollars, which is the highest for film production and 3D animation and VFX.
Okay.
It ranges between that, and we do have scholarships up to $15,000 based on different programs. That's based on the portfolio and the IELTS score. So primarily the portfolio, and the IELTS score should be minimum 6.5 with no individual score less than 6.
Okay, right. Which is fantastic. I mean, like I said, I'm a bit of more of a New Zealand specialist, and so I'm not. I must confess, that I'm not but we do have Canada experts on our team, and they are more familiar. But it's great learning for me as the person conducting the session today. And I think the immediate thing that strikes me is that your requirement of IELTS, which is 6.5 with no band score less than 6, is the same requirement for a master's here in New Zealand. So, which means your courses are so at the top level that the equivalence is a very good indicator. So, what happens if somebody gets a 9 in IELTS? Do they get a scholarship straight away?
As I said, the scholarship is based more on the portfolio and not so much.
Oh, okay. Because there might be this fantastic writer, English, proponent, and he ends up getting a bloody 9, and then he says, "Okay, I got a 9. Now give me my scholarship." So,
but of course, he'll be at an edge at others where other student applications are concerned because of the high IELTS score. But of course, it should not be that he gets 9 in IELTS and the portfolio is not up to the mark. So
of course, yeah. So it's like both sides of the coin, really. It's not just the shiny side you show, and then the other side is all dull and. Yeah, fair enough. Tell us a little bit about Vancouver itself as a place for people to go stay, and what kind of a city is it? Unfortunately, I haven't been to Canada yet. I think I will be doing very shortly. I did spend a year in the US, but unfortunately, I never could go to Canada and go across the border. But I'm back in the US very shortly, in about a month or two. And this time I'm definitely going. But hey, look, tell a complete newcomer why I should go to Vancouver.
Oh, it's a beautiful city visually. It's like if you are on go
Yes.
the other side. It's really, really beautiful. It has both. It has the ocean, it has the mountains. It's also a very safe place to for the last few years. It has, I think it's the second most livable city in the world right now.
Wow.
It's also very expensive. Like, it was expensive to live in, but it's safe, it's beautiful. It's got multicultural people from all over the world, and you will see people, Indians, you will see Chinese, you will see Japanese, of course, Americans, you will see people from China, you'll see every different type of person in Vancouver itself, because as they say now, the white man is kind of a minority over there. The number of visiting, there are more international people there because of the education. It's a huge English language teaching centers in Vancouver itself, which attracts a lot of students from non-English countries to be able to take the English classes before they go to university or school. So that's one of the reasons why it's so multicultural.
Fantastic. Yeah. Dottie, you're breaking up again, so I'll cut to another question quickly. So yeah, I think I got the gist of what you were telling us, which is one of the most amazing destination cities in Canada, and which is great. Quick question, would it help? I think Vancouver is in the French part of Canada, isn't it? So would it help if somebody has got a bit of a background in French as well, or is it in the French part of Canada by any chance?
No.
Oh, it's not. Okay. I think Quebec is the French part, right? That's the French part of Canada. Yes. Okay.
I would also like to add to the questions that before, also the weather conditions are very favorable for Indian students. So
very nice.
Unlike other places in Canada, like in Toronto and all that, faces really extreme weather conditions, especially during the cold. Like if you see in Toronto and all those places, it goes up to like minus 20, 30 or minus 40 degrees sometimes.
Yeah.
Vancouver has a great weather, so it's not too cold in the cold and not too hot in the hot season. So it's very
fantastic,
favorable for especially Indians too.
Excellent. You guys have both sold Vancouver to me, so I'm in. But now comes the big question. You've sold the place to me. How do I get there? Tell me a little bit about the visa process for your typical international student of India. What are the pitfalls or the challenges in the visa process from India to Canada?
How to get me breaking up. Visa process is something that universities or institutions are not allowed to by Canadian law. So it has to be done by the agent.
Yes.
Agent needs to be able to apply for this student. There's a statement of purpose that one needs to write. They need documentation and confirmation from Vancouver Film School. The receipts for payment, you need to write out a good SOP. You should be able to do the GIC, which is the Guaranteed Investment Certificate, which is the $10,000 needs to be kept in a Canadian bank for your and you need to put all your documentation properly. If you prepay your full tuition, you don't need financial documents. Otherwise, you need financial proof. You will require all your
Dorothy, your voice is breaking up again.
Completely, yeah. I think she's going for the first minute and then it's fading off. Yeah, we can hear you for a minute, Dorothy, and then it seems to fade off after that. Yes, and Dinesh, wherever she's breaking off, maybe you can pick up the slack from there. Yeah.
Yeah. So apart from what Dorothy said, the GIC, the documents, the SOP, then of course for for application, I would like to talk more about that.
Yes, please.
Also need the portfolio, of course, which is a major requirement. And also during the introduction, Dorothy said if a student does not have portfolio, they can take the preparatory programs as we call them. So either it's a foundation for visual art and design program, or it's acting essentials for the acting program for students who don't have a background. So if you don't have a portfolio, you do the preparatory program. Apart from that, we need IELTS 6.5 with no band less than 6. For certain programs like foundation, sound design and all, we take 6 also overall score with no band less than 6. Then we need 2 letters of references. It could be academic or it could be the students working somewhere. It could be professional letter, or it could be a combination. And all the documents, educational documents, academic documents from grade 12 onwards. If the student is directly applying after grade 12, then your 10th and 12th education mark sheets. And of course, it's a very easy process. Everything is online. You have to go on vfs.edu, click on admissions. You have to upload all the documents there. No physical documents are needed as we did in olden times.
Yes.
Everything is online. Only the IELTS score sheet has to be separately emailed to us, because right now there's no provision for that, because even the Canadian students use the same website, so they don't need IELTS, right? So everything else is very easy. After all the documents are uploaded and it's successful and everything, within 3 working days the student gets a conditional acceptance on the basis of the documents, the application fee.
So three working days they can get a conditional acceptance.
Conditional acceptance, provided all the documents, everything.
Of course, everything is ticked off all the boxes, and
after that, the student needs to pay 5% of the tuition amount to book your seat, and after the student does that, within 7 to 8 working days, you get full acceptance.
Fantastic.
So our turnaround time is very fast. We are really hands-on in
that is so lovely to hear, because that is normally a challenge that we face with some other institutions. It's so lovely to hear that if we provide a full set of documentation on behalf of a student, that you guys can turn it around. It looks like 10 business days, working days, basically.
Yes.
Okay, that's lovely. Does VFS have any other campuses besides Vancouver, or is it just the one city?
We have multiple campuses in Vancouver. 7 to 8 campuses throughout British Columbia.
The city. Okay. And they're kind of all aligned around specializations, is it? Animation and film production and that's lovely. And what are your kind of intakes? How many intakes do you guys have in the year?
So there are 3 different categories. So there may be 3, 4, or 6 intakes depending on the program you go for. Like for film production and 3D animation, VFX, we have 6 intakes in a year.
Wow.
Pretty much every 2 months there's an intake, pretty much that.
Fantastic.
Of course, even though the intake is 6, there are sometimes, especially in film production, it almost gets filled a year in advance. So student has to plan accordingly, at least 10 to 12 months in advance to get full. So students really have to plan in advance for what they want to do.
Wow. So you're telling me that in case we, let's say, get a couple of really good students with a fantastic portfolio in the IELTS, they will still go into the waiting queue and it'll take a while for them to get the admission?
Depending on the program, like some programs are 6-7 months, you have to apply in advance. Some like film production, classical animation is almost 10 to 12 months in advance. So
Wow,
the
okay.
earlier you apply, the better. So even though the student, whichever intake they want, we'll waitlist them for earlier start date.
Awesome. Yeah.
Just in case somebody changes their date or differs, so we can always put the student. So we put them on waitlist as well.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's fantastic. And does VFS have an in-house placement facility where they're also placed into projects or actual employment, or does industry come and seek out your graduates?
So we have a day called Industry Day specifically for game design, 3D animation, VFX, and digital design, where
Okay.
different studios come and come and visit our campuses. The students get an opportunity to show their show reels to them, and if the company is ready to sponsor them, they can get a job. But VFS can't guarantee any job placements being a private school.
Of course. Yeah.
We also have something known as a VFS job board. So VFS job board is where different companies will come and post their jobs on our websites, and students get a chance to apply. They almost get lifetime opportunity to apply to the job through the
Awesome.
website.
Awesome. And after completion of one of your courses, irrespective of film production or animation or writing, do the students get a post-study work visa in
No.
Canada?
No, VFS is a private school, so there's no automatic work permit after you finish 1 year at VFS. Student might have to study 1+ year in a public school just for the work permit.
So they complete the course at VFS and then get into a public school is what you're suggesting.
So we also have tie-up with different schools, like different public schools. We have tie-up with BCIT, Winfred L'Oreal, RRU, OCAD University, many universities where they can study 1+ year in another school and then get the 1, 2, or 3 year work permit, depending what course they do after that. The advantage of doing this pathway is that they get up to 60 credits which are transferred to another school. So almost up to 2 years of credit transfer is transferable if you take the pathway. If the student does not want to take the pathway, of course, they can join any other school public school in Canada. But that we are not sure how much credits would be transferable. That we need to check at that point of time.
So there are a few instead of institutions with whom you have created this association where the cross-crediting happens and they can get those 60 credits and they can go and join for another course.
Up to 60 credits. Yeah. Also, the pathway options are mentioned on the website as well.
Lovely.
The pathway overview.
Lovely. Has it been a bit of a what do you call a challenge that if somebody comes to VFS, and because by and large a lot of Indian students or South Asian students are very focused on the post-study work visa scenario, has it been a challenge when you tell them that, hey, look, you can study with us, get great education and skills and everything, but you'll have to do another course to get your post-study work visa? Has it been a challenge for you guys personally?
It's a challenge for a certain category of students who want to focus in Canada. The way to overcome that is to be able to take the pathway. So they take maybe a year at some schools.
Dinesh, you'll have to jump in.
There's no issue to get those students in.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So you're saying that essentially the quality of the student as well, in terms of how well they. Yeah. Come on. But what
is the kind of students done is hardly a challenge. Like.
So yeah,
VFS grad. Breaking up again.
Completely. Yes. Sorry.
So yeah, what she meant in a nutshell really depends on the quality. Dorothy, can you try without the video? Maybe it sounds better.
Yeah, probably.
I've taken the video. It's clear now?
Yeah, no, it's still breaking up, Dorothy. Yeah. Okay. Go on, Dinesh. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So probably what she means is like, of course, the quality of education, as you rightly pointed out, and it's a very niche market, right? Not everybody can,
Correct.
will go for such programs.
Absolutely.
Most of the students who are really serious, they have that kind of potential or the creativity in them. They would go irrespective of the pathway. They because most of our students are already they have done their bachelor's in India, so they
Correct.
still they sometimes they do have issues, why should I do it again? But then most of them do it because they know, like, VFS, as Dorothy said in the beginning, it's like will give you a step to many doors, which opens up after you study or finish your graduation at VFS. So just for the work permit you might have to do, you have to do rather. So that is not much of an issue for students because they know they have the diploma from VFS, so they know opportunities are available. Just for the work permit, they have to do the public.
Fantastic. And well, how much would that additional, pathway course cost? About the same, or at a
It
public?
really depends. It really depends. It could be anywhere from 18,000 all the way to $25,000. Really depends. Sometimes what students do, they also take a cheaper public school, which is like a community college or something,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
$8 to $10. So it really
Yeah.
depends also on the budgets of the student.
Correct. Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And what happens in a scenario where, let's say, on your industry day, somebody actually gets picked because they're absolutely brilliant and outstanding? So will they qualify independently for a separate work permit under that job offer situation?
The company needs to sponsor their work.
Okay, yeah, I understand. It will not be VFS, but I'm saying,
Yeah.
that situation is possible as well, is what you're
But
suggesting.
that's very rare, to be honest. But yeah, it's
Okay. Yeah, no, I appreciate your, candidness on that. Yeah, because yeah, you're right. It'll be quite rare for a fresh graduate to be picked straight off the school. And what's the average number of students coming out of South Asia to VFS on an annual basis, Dinesh?
Approximately from India and South Asia, like approximately between 120 to 130 students.
Wow, wow, excellent. That's a lot of young people putting their faith and trust in the skills and training that you guys will impart to them, and then working intelligently towards creating the future in their careers. No, that's fantastic. Right, guys, and unfortunately, because we are losing Dorothy so much, and we're also coming up to about 45 minutes of the session, I wish it could have been a little longer. But any final words, Dinesh and Dorothy?
All I want to tell you is go to our website, look at the blog, and
Yeah.
you will get blown away by the Oscar nominations and the winners. Top 5 film out of the top 5 films that were nominated for our VFS grad.
Fantastic. Because you guys said, however good a portfolio you have willing to apply a year ahead, I might be your first application from New Zealand for this year, because I'm hoping to retire from AJB Global next year and come and study with you guys. Yeah. Dinesh, some last few words of advice to any of our viewers. Like I said, it's not just today, but we will propagate this lovely session. I so enjoyed talking to the two of you. Unfortunately, I wish Dorothy's microphone or internet connection was clear as well, because I think she was wanting to share such good information, but it was fading out. But hey, Dinesh, you did a commendable job in covering up the slides. But hey, some last few words of advice to any prospects.
Plan early, I would say. Plan at least 8 months to 1 year in advance for whatever you need to do. Start preparing for a portfolio for students who sometimes students don't have a background in what they want to do, like animation, or take some classes in India or online or whatever you need to do. Prepare yourself for a good portfolio so that the chances of education acceptance are higher at VFS. And just prepare a budget well in advance, because Vancouver, as Dorothy said, is quite an expensive city.
Yes.
So you need to consider a lot of factors like living expenses, your GIC, or fees and everything. So you need to do, and of course, then everything you need to plan. And if there's any help, you can obviously visit our website, vfs.edu, connect with us directly. You guys are there to help.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, just it and just let the creative juices flow, as they say. Don't lose out on your creativity.
Yeah. Well, before I forget, quick question on the expenses part of it. Are the students allowed to work part-time while they're studying at VFS?
So legally you can work 20 hours a week, but humanly it may not be possible.
Understand. I mean, so, but technically it is there, that clause is there, that they can, but because the course is so full on and so involved, intense. No, I get it, because, I work with, and I do really admire those students who go fully committed only to the course and not, trying to recover their fees and stuff. I have a lot of respect for students like that because they're the true ones who will end up on the Oscar stage someday. So yeah, fantastic. But thank you both so much for this lovely session. We've done almost an hour. Like I said, I would have loved to continue the conversation, but we have been losing out on Dorothy. But pleasure to meet you both. Thank you for the opportunity to represent your wonderful institution, and we at AJB Global will put our best foot forward. As I self-confessed, I'm not a Canada expert, but we do have Canadian experts on our team. We have a beautiful big team of people all across the world. And we also work with an RCIC, by the way. So we have somebody on our panel, which means any of our students who land in Canada and are looking at further onshore support, that's a promise we also provide. So really appreciate the opportunity to work with such a wonderful school and keep up the great work. Thank you for the opportunity today, and we will publicize it to everybody on the database.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Great meeting you again.
My pleasure. Take care. Good night.